Okay. We are at the Corner Duomo Hotel in Milan. Just got here. This is our suite. Suite number 301. This is what it looks like. It's pretty nice, pretty good size. Hola.
Hola.
So this is the rollout bed for Angelina on her size. Good size. It's got its own coffee bar over here. I think you can make espresso with that thing. It's got our own TV. And kind of an unusual setup. So on one side of the suite, it's got the shower. So kind of hard to tell. It's very dark in there, but let me see if I can get in a little bit closer if it'll brighten up. So a full shower in there. Enough for like 3 or 4 people. And then on the other side is our bed. They got the safe, closet right there. Here's our bed.
Hello.
It's a nice double bed. It's got a place for the laptop over here. TV. And then they've got the bathroom separated from the shower, which is kind of unique. So somebody can be doing their business in the bathroom while the other person is showering. So kind of cool. We got all kinds of gizmos over there. I don't even know what everything does, but nice bathroom, nice sink area. I don't even know what this is. I'm guessing this is the radiator or something. I think this is where the hot water goes. Where's the towels at? Where do you put the towels? Open that up. There's no towels in there. Do we have towels?
That.
Oh, we definitely need more towels. All right, so that is our suite. Oh,
That's just
towels
blind.
are underneath the sink. Okay.
That's just blind.
Cool. All right. So we are going to take a quick lunch break. And by the way, the most dangerous thing in our room is that lovely corner right there that already took out my shin. And I said, gosh darn it, that really hurt. So we're going to go eat some lunch, and then we've got a little bit of touring to do today. The train ride in was kind of interesting. We hit a top speed of 280 kilometers, which was 180 something miles an hour. Kind of neat. Very smooth ride in. So, all right. We'll see you all in a little bit.
Appreciate it. And these are the things you discover, because it's probably not even in the squares, it's not even, in the, you have to go find it a little bit. This building is a building from the second half of the 1500s, and it was the house of an artist. He designed it himself, and he was working for the Spanish rulers. We were under Spanish rule at the time. And it's a sort of late Renaissance. The definition is Manieros. And there's an interesting thing that not just the huge statues supporting the building, but if you look up in the main window, on top of the main window, on the balcony, you see that there are 2 lions practically eating. Well, the name of this artist was Leone, which literally translates into lions. Okay.
That's cool.
And so it's a mainly reference to yourself, and in sort of metaphor, it's Leone fighting against the lies of the world and getting rid of them. The other thing which might be interesting is that it should be right now the side of a club, like a gentleman's club. So
Really? Wow.
And another thing, it used to be, thing that it's not any longer when we see it used to be the offices of the Ricordi music editor. Ricordi was a music editor who started in Milan at the start of the 1800s, and it truly made, in a way, the history of the Scala opera houses. They had this huge collaboration. They were kind of genius editors, so they brought a lot of innovation in the music field and so. And it has been their office. Now this is busy, but it's another. I was telling you that Milan is probably not about the squares. Some are interesting. This is an interesting one. Two or three things in here. This building, which is to me fantastic, but it's also an interesting example of neoclassical style, but for private use. Because if I had to pick up a style to define Milan, I would definitely say it is neoclassical, which means, let's say, the first half of the 1800s, okay? Late 1700s, first half of the 1800s. As a matter of fact, most of it was public, because we were under Austrian rule and the Austrians developed the city. So plenty of buildings are public buildings. And you will notice, because we're going for sure to see the Scala Opera House or the Royal Palace, they're extremely sober, extremely plain and simple, because neoclassical had, in a way, some political purposes as well. It was the starting of the Enlightenment, okay? So a brand new vision of what a government was meant to be, not to show too much richness in the face of people, became a thing. While, if you look at this one, which is called Piazza Belgioioso, and it belonged to this Count Belgioioso, that's a different language. It's neoclassical, so it's there's an order, there's a rhythm, it's clean, but it's opulent at the same time. And the other thing, which is to me pretty amazing about this moment in time in the history of architecture in Milan, is that I tend to name the name of the architect who designed all these things, which is Giuseppe Piermarini. Giuseppe Piermarini designed the Scala Opera House, the Royal Palace. But I should literally talk about a sort of group of people working together, because it was a sort of team. There was Giocondo Albertolli that made the stuccos, Andrea Piani who painted the ceilings, a number of people working together and really making Milan in the early 1800s, which is a pretty fascinating thing, really. Right. And then the other thing which might be interesting is that house with the cotto design on the front. Well, this is a fake front to start with. Because, really? Yes. Or it was made on purpose at a certain point around the mid-1800s, because it used to be the house, the family house of a novelist whose name is Alessandro Manzoni in Milan, in Italy. Everybody knows Alessandro Manzoni because he happened to be the author of a novel, and the novel was The Fiancé, or the bee. I pronounce it very poorly, I'm sorry, but it's the Bee-Throated, or okay, I Promessi Sposi in Italian, which is the novel you read at the primary school, secondary school. Okay, it's right, so pretty much the Italian literature of modern times, and he used to live in there. And the real front of the house is on the other side.
Oh, wow.
But at a certain point, he had redesigned this other side because of, well, it's a matter of patriotic feelings. Because Milan, during the Renaissance time, during the Middle Ages, was basically a city made of cotto. So it was red bricks, and even the decors were made of cotto. And so while we were fighting for independence, you know that when Italy was made, it was a long fight, and we fought for 40 years to put the things together. But also we had to define us as a population, because Italy never was a country until 1861. So we were trying to find common roots as well. And common roots were easier to be found in the history of art, because history of art was a shared experience, if you wish. And so this thing reflects through architecture as well. This is a patriotic way of defining
oneself, you know, showing the you know, the roots, and so quite a good number of houses, private homes were decorated like these in the, let's say, mid 1800s, first half of the 1800s. They didn't really stay, so you won't see many. But one last thing,
Who lives there now?
Oh, now it's a foundation because it's run as a museum, a center for studies on the literature of Alessandro Manzoni. That's the back of the statue dedicated to Cristina Belgioioso, Cristina Trivulzio di Belgioioso, which happened to be, well, that's a very, very recent statue to start with because it's a statue of a woman, and as you know, we're starting finally to make some. And it's taken from one of the two portraits of her. She was amazing. She was part of the Trivulzio family, but she was such an emancipated girl in the 1800s. She was somebody who basically supported the independence fight, but practically she put together a tiny army to bring to Milan during the 5 days of fight that actually, you know, helped Milan was emancipating. She was beautiful. She was beautiful. She was running not just a farm, but you know, a super. I mean, they whatever belonged to her family, but she was able not just to run it, but to create, I don't know, some. To make sure the kids of the workers had some care, also so very modern things. She traveled up to, if I'm not wrong, up to Turkey. So she was really different, and she finally has a tribute thanks to this statue. I'm not really convinced about the statue, but it was about time.
Yeah, right.
And well, we can do it. It depends on you know, the occasion, and if you want something specific or so, but otherwise you can, because sometimes there's a line outside, not necessarily all the time, but sometimes, and so you never know. But I can show you at least 2 Louis Vuitton stores which are interesting.
We had a funny conversation. He said, "We'll skip the churches and go to the Louis store."
Well, I can relate to that.
So of course we have them over in the States. We're from.
No, sure, but it
US.
makes sense to buy it in Europe because it saves some. Maybe you even have some more choice sometimes. So makes sense.
And then it was my birthday a few days ago.
Oh,
so this is,
happy birthday!
This is kind of like a birthday type thing. So.
Watch out because you know, Milan has very large, wide streets, but just in certain places, and nothing is really pedestrian. So beware, because even when it's very, very quiet, a car is going to go through.
Right. We've been driving down. We had a rental car from Rome
to Florence. Okay.
And they gave us a Mercedes because we have lots of luggage. We'll be
okay, sure.
Till June, and it barely fit down the streets. And we actually stopped in Orvieto, and it was crazy trying to go through there with a big car.
I understand, yes. Well, the truth is that we are used to, so it is possible.
Right.
But I understand it's kind of shocking when you face it for the first time.
It was like trying to squeeze through these little streets with these big cars. It was like, oh my goodness. In the US, the streets are so big.
You're right. Now, this one is Via Manzoni. Via Manzoni, I would consider it as a sort of gate to the fashion district, which is just ahead. It's already pretty elegant. We do have some beautiful courtyards like this one, for instance. We can enter if you wish.
Wow.
Yeah, because as we were saying, Milan is also, you know, you have to go past the gate
Right,
to
to
find
see,
it out.
yeah.
Anytime there's an open gate, just push it and give it a try, because most of the, I'm not talking really about all
Right,
the architectures, but the old good ones tend to look like this one. So normally they have a courtyard because the typical Lombard architecture is square shaped, so the courtyard is inside. This one happens to be a beautiful museum, which used to be the house of a collector of works of art, who designed it in order to make it look, I would say, not just as a Renaissance home, but something more, because it kind of mixed up many moments in time. For instance, a thing that survives in here is a studio that looks like a medieval one inspired by Dante's literature and so the roots of Italian literature again. He has a fantastic collection of weapons and armors, because weapons and armors were a thing in Milan. Milan is very lucky because we had very interesting raw materials, so metals, for instance, and we became pretty good in creating weapons, armors, jewels, and so since a long time we were producing a lot of them, for instance, in the 1500s or so, because we were under Spanish rule. Spanish were warriors, so it happened, and in the, let's say, full 1800s, for a gentleman having a collection of weapons and so was a thing. So he had this one, which is also displayed by an artist, and it's a beautiful room, really. It was designed by a sculptor. His name is Arnaldo Pomodoro, and it's beautiful. So just to give you an idea of what you can find behind the gates. Yes.
Yeah, you never know what's behind, like, we were walking through Siena yesterday.
Oh, wow.
She says, why are you taking pictures of these doors? You don't know what's behind
Sì, volendo sì.
them. All these pretty doors.
Yes.
And things you don't know, you know.
You're right. You're right. It's surprising sometimes, and Milan tends to really be like that, to surprise at least. The facade is, yes.
Hidden treasures.
And Milan is as busy as you see it. It's, Rome is, yeah, you're right, but it's different because I love Rome very much, but Rome is more of a quiet chaos, when Milan is fast, when it's busy.
Right.
Watch out. Grazie.
Ma sono tessuti?
You can see the difference that some are more modern.
Yeah, some are more modern because sometimes because Milan has been bombed. Milan was bombed pretty heavily during the Second World War, and so some of the buildings were replaced by others. And most of the time you can really tell because the architecture from the 50s is not every time the best you can find. So you see this beautiful line of palazzi, and then something from the 50s or the early 60s, which is probably not the most amazing thing.
Right. Is there still a rule that the shutters can only be a certain colors and stuff like that, or does it matter?
Well, there are rules. It depends. I mean, anytime you have to change something in the architecture you live in or you're rearranging, you have to ask permission, especially if houses are like these. Yeah. But normally you have to ask. Then it doesn't mean they're not going to say yes, but you have to ask for sure.
Gotcha.
Oh, Madonna!
Nato con i piedi,
Maybe we can stop in here for a second. Or we just go past it so you have a view, because otherwise it's complicated. But because I want to go this way, but I have to show you in here. You're a Milanese, I see.
Over the last few days, yeah. Over the days that it's like, yeah.
You just go.
Especially in Florence, it was just go. Quit waiting for the lights. They took you forever.
Just so you have a little view, because this is a very good point of observation on the development of the city itself. Because first of all, if you look over there, which is basically where we started, where we met, okay, the area of the Scala Opera House. You go back to the heart of the oldest Milan, talking about all the ages the guides tell you about. Well, that was the starting. Then in here, the street over there is Via Monte Napoleone. Via Monte Napoleone is the heart of the fashion district in Milan, but it also happens to be to be set on the former line of the Roman walls. So this used to be the limit of the Roman city, and we still have some little spolia, because in the shops on that side, if you ask, they might tell you you can go see some of the bricks from the Roman walls in the basement. So,
really?
Yes, because they are still there, as well as inside this hotel in here. If you go downstairs, you see some bricks from the Roman walls.
Wow.
And that used to be the limit of the city in Roman times. Then the city expanded, and if you look there, you see the arches. Okay, the arches were the limits of the medieval city. They're still there, restored, so they don't really look exactly like that. They look a little too new to be just what they used to be. The interesting thing is that past those arches, we didn't have a street as we have now. We had a canal. We had, basically it was the moat of the city that connected to the fortress, which is practically over there, and it was water. It was water. We had plenty of waters in Milan, which are very hard. I mean, it's hard even to imagine, because we basically removed almost them all. Modernity is faster, so we decided, to move on, and we lost them. But we had a network of canals, really. You could go around by boats, you could deliver goods, and I know, it's kind of crazy. And you also see that there are some trees at the back. The trees are the trees from the oldest city park Milan ever had. I mean, a park that was designed to be a public park. And it happened again in the 1700s, and it was again Giuseppe Piermarini, the author, the architect of Palazzo Belgioioso we just saw, of the Scala and so. And past the trees, walking a little bit more, you would find another street which happened to be the limit of the Spanish city, because we had a third line of walls at mid-1500s, designed and made by the Spanish governors. So you can really, kind of experience the extent of the city. Yes. While this hotel, which is called Grand Hotel du Milan, used to be the place where Giuseppe Verdi, the composer, used to stay while he was in Milan. Late in time, when Giuseppe Verdi was a rock star, and he had this beautiful villa in Busseto and so. But when he was in Milan, maybe he was performing at the Scala, so he used to stay in here. You literally see the windows here at first floor on the corner. It used to be his room. It used to be his bedroom. It was adored by the people. So consider that he basically had to open the window and greet the people after the performances, because they went, really like a rock star of the times. And then you see an ugly thing, which is that marble sort of cube or so. That is meant to be a monument, which I personally detest. I mean, it doesn't make sense. At the back, there's a fountain. So I don't know. I also very much love the house that's at the back, which you cannot see right now because they are cleaning, but it's lovely, and it's just, I don't know, it's a huge thing in the middle. It was a gift by the contractors of this line of metro trains. You see the access to a metro stop, which is the third line of metro trains we built in the early 90s, and they decided to leave this beautiful gift to,
nice.
to the city. The idea is nice, but and it's made out of the same marble of the Duomo, of the cathedral. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Now we can go just along the Corso Via Monte Napoleone. The florist.
Yes.
It's here since I can remember. It's been here since I can remember. It's lovely.
Wow.
They have amazing flowers every time. Yeah. And this is the fashion district. That's it.
Here we go. This is where all the expensive stuff is.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Precisely. How long are you staying in Milan?
We're here for 2 nights,
Okay.
and then we go to Venice for 2
Oh, wow.
nights.
Okay, so you're not finished yet.
Not finished yet,
Okay.
and then we go to Austria for a week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In the mountains, I guess?
In the mountains,
Okay.
yes. So we have, we started on the 18th
Mm-hmm.
in Sorrento. So we're there for a few days, 5 days.
Was the weather nice to you?
Yes,
in this?
it was-
Okay,
it was-
great.
It was raining when we first got there, and
Okay.
then we had no rain the whole time. Like one day it was cloudy
Good,
and
okay.
windy. However, we had a private bus, or not bus, boat tour
Okay.
on a really big, huge boat just for the 3 of us. And a lot of boats weren't going out to Capri, and they took us anyway. It was so cool
Wow.
to go out there, and we had the best time. So
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Because the weather was not really collaborating a lot with the
Yeah,
latest
it was-
months, so it's been awful. It's been
the weather's
awful.
been good for us. The whole time
Okay,
we've
great.
been here, the weather's been
Perfect. Perfect.
great.
Yes, that's a large Valentino store. Oh,
He
I
loves
will show
Valentino.
you one more thing. We take it from the other side,
Okay.
right? It's there because basically, fashion district is this street, the parallel, and everything in between. So it's a tiny area. If you need to stop someplace or so, you're just welcome to do so. Huh?
His battery in his Movado died a couple days ago.
Okay.
So he's like, what time is it? What time is it? He's asking the time. Oh, look at the pup. It's so pretty though.
Push there. I mean, just to enjoy the
Oh, yeah.
details, really, because
All the balconies and
I guess we have a thing for balconies in Milan, probably because, well, it's funny because I tend to tell all the people that Milan is not green enough, which is true, because
Right.
it's not like we have enough green spaces. As a matter of fact, first of all, it's true we have a thing for balconies, probably because having no other places, we,
Right.
if we are a square meter, we make the most of it. But also, and mostly, since it started rain at mid-March, and it seems like it's not over yet, I started realizing that everything is as green as it never was before. I mean, sometimes I just move around the eye and I feel like, oh my god, this is not Milan, this is Ireland. I've never seen Milan as green as it is.
Wow.
It's pretty. I'll take it this way.
they're so pretty.
No, there are some which are really amazing, and it's not the size. It's really, yes, they're so rich. I envy them very
Right.
much. I have to show you in here.
like a hidden gem.
It is. This really is. This place, again, it's something similar to Paul di Pezzoli Museum we just saw. This one is called Bagatti Valsecchi. The story is similar. Two brothers, the family house, they inherited it in the early 70s of the 1800s. They were in love with Renaissance, so they literally made this house into a proper Renaissance dream home. In some ways, by collecting items, and I'm not really just talking about works of art, I'm talking about tools, I'm talking about objects of all sorts, furnishing, furniture, all sorts of things from basically the 1500s, and they redesigned the house completely. And then what they could not find, they had it made in the shape of. So it's a fake Renaissance and a bit I would say sometimes it's a little crazy because, for instance, they have this amazing stone-made bathtub.
Right.
Okay. But you know that in the Renaissance there were no bathtubs at all.
Yeah,
okay, so it's they have a pianoforte which is covered and looks like a cupboard because a gentleman from the 1800s had to have a piano at home, but in the 1400s piano was not even a thing yet. So so all these sorts of crazy things, but to create them, they implied amazing artisans. So in a way, I tend to think that this place kind of represents somehow, if you wish, even the roots of the Italian design or the Milanese design, because they were so perfectly made. But to the details, if you look, just look at the windows. The windows were made to remind to the early glasses in the 1400s, which were not pure, were not large, and so on and so on and so on. So it is a pretty special place, and you can go through. There's a fantastic restaurant in the middle, but you can just cross, and it is open as a museum. Just in the afternoons, you enter there, and it's a fantastic. Crazy, elegant house. And again, it's one of those things that you just go by and you don't realize it's here. You really have not to be shy when you move around in Milan. Just push and go.
Those are the bottles.
The bottles are from the restaurant.
Those are huge.
They are. So, those you should open with a sword. Yes, with saber.
Oh, for sure. That thing is so big.
And the family is still owning this place. Really? Yes, yeah.
So do they live in it? Or?
They don't, but some of the space, the museum is open as a museum. They don't live in the house, but there are spaces on top, on the side, or so. Some of them are rented, basically. So and if you are okay, instead of keep on walking along Monte Napoleone, we take the next one, so you also see Via della Spiga, and we cover the entire fashion district this way. Yes.
How long have you lived here?
Ever since I was born, basically. Yes, born and raised. Yeah, born and raised in Milan.
That's the first tall man that I've seen.
The first old man.
So, since we've been in Italy,
you only saw short men?
they're 6 feet.
Ooh.
Or to us, we go by feet. He goes by meters. So, in short, when we were in the train station coming here, I was like, "There's no tall people." And then,
for sure, I'm not one of them.
Right, our consideration of tall, considering our daughter's tall,
well,
but people call her short in America.
Oh, you're called short in America? Okay. So what do they call me? They try to find me, probably.
She plays volleyball, so for volleyball,
okay.
She's short.
Okay.
So we get like height, and she likes super, tall men.
Of course.
So we're
not Italians for you, basically.
Right. So we were just kind of, observing when we were in the train station, going, "There's no tall people. They're all like my height, and everybody calls me short." So I'm like, it's just interesting to see, because in the U.S. you see super tall men, super tall, they're the height and difference and things. And then the doorways, like we see.
They're tiny.
Yeah, they're
oh well,
short.
those of the gates.
Yeah.
They are because they are old, and it was, I guess, something like protecting or something. So, but yes, some are crazy small.
Yeah.
I know.
Like when we were in, was it Siena yesterday that we saw that? She walked up to the door frame and there was like this much before it touched her head.
I know. I had one of those gates. And I had to make sure my friends, when they enter, I had to make sure I was ready to tell it, watch out, because some of them got really hurt.
Oh yeah.
So this is Via della Spiga. Via della Spiga is, as we were saying, together with Monte Napoleone. You know that we tend to call the fashion district the quadrangle of fashion, because it's really a square-shaped cluster of things. This is somehow even nicer because it's more quiet. It's not pedestrian, as you can tell, but it's just more quiet, and the I don't know, the range of the shops is the same. In fashion in Milan is high-end, and that's it, okay, because fashion in Milan is a business.
Right.
It's not like we have different shops or, artisans or so. It's very high-end. It's something like 80,000 people working in fashion industry in here, so it's really about making money, I think, more than offering unusual things.
Right. It's the, isn't it the fashion capital of the world?
It's surely one of them, I would say, together with Paris.
City.
Yeah, I would say Paris, Milan, New York also.
Right.
These are the ones. I just found out, and I was so fascinated, there's a fashion week in Dakar.
Really?
Yes. And I saw pictures. It was amazing. So now I'm curious, but it's not probably, I would dare say, not as relevant at the moment.
Right. I would say so. See, they should have lost our bags in Milan, so we could have brought here. So Air France, when we first got to Sorrento, we flew we're from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the U.S. Las Vegas to New York, New York to Paris, Paris to Naples. Oh, that's beautiful. And they lost their luggage. They left it in New York City. Yes.
My goodness.
So I had nothing for 5 days. My luggage didn't show up until the day we were leaving. 30 minutes before we left Sorrento.
My goodness.
So I had to go shopping for everything for days, and then they had got there 2 days before me. So yeah, it was crazy.
Crazy, really. It is. Now, I have another idea, which is we're going back this way, and I'll show you another kind of secret passage, which is lovely and new. And this is called Via Sant'Andrea, again part of the fashion district, for sure. And we can take a shortcut, which is just adorable, and a new one, because it's connected to a brand new hotel, of course, a luxury one. So. And the scale of these green spaces is amazing. You really don't think there's so much, and it is so large past the gate. That's it. A private apartment. People living basically. Very lucky ones, I would say.
Where did she know Florence?
Oh yes.
le classiche ballerine.
Oh yes, and consider that, I don't know, in Milan I think our gates are normally pretty tiny compared, if I think of, mostly I would say Naples. Naples has these
massive.
amazing gates. Milan is kind of tiny. Now we have to enter in here, but I'm showing you one more thing before we do, because it's just there and it's beautiful as well. Just in here.
This is original?
This is original from the 1700s basically, because this used to be a private residence which still offers some rooms left as they used to be in the 1700s, and it is now a museum, which is probably too many things, and at a certain point they will have to make a decision which one to, you know, pursue really, because it's at least three things. The Museum of Milan, because it has a beautiful collection of paintings that literally show Milan throughout the centuries. So the canals, the Duomo in the making, all sorts of things. Then they have, it's called a Museo del Settecento of the 1700s, because some of these rooms were left as they were, so you enjoy a household from the 1700s in Milan. And then, as we are in the Art of the Fashion District, they also show by rotation a tiny but interesting, most of the time, collection of costumes, because we do have a collection of costumes which are the worst thing to show, you know that. No, really, because it's so complicated. I mean, anytime you think about keeping a painting safe, it's the easiest thing you can do, but when it comes to clothes, even hanging them on the support is ruining them, so it's the maintenance is really a task. But we do have also these things, so three things in just one, too much probably, but the place itself is just an adorable one. Just even the courtyards, I hope you like.
Beautiful, stones and everything.
Oh, and from time to time they also have some temporary art exhibitions, which is the latest one. It just closed, is the one where I found out there is a fashion week in the car. Lidia Morando Attendolo Bolognini was the countess and the owner of this place. She's the one who she died, if I'm not wrong, in 1943 or so, and she gave this place to the municipality to do something out of it, and they did. 95, morta il 31 1945, 95, and that's the reason why we can explore a little and enter this place. Are we doing good? Yeah. Is that okay? Perfetto. Excuse me? I have no idea. I think it's for the chariots not to be slippery or so. But to be honest, I have no idea why it is. Yeah. It looks like. Yes, it does. Ah, that's a tax refund. Now I understand the line. Now let's go this way. This is practically the back entrance to a brand new hotel, which is beautiful, and it's also a shortcut to Corso Venezia, so we can take advantage.
Shoes.
Quite many. Now, I have to say, I have no idea what's going on in the courtyard because it's something temporary, possibly related to some fashion show or something, but I really don't know, to be honest, because I really don't know. But the place itself is a super interesting one because this is now turned into a super luxury hotel, and it's called Portrait. But this used to be not really a monastery, because this is not really the right thing. It used to be a school for young priests, and it was set early in the 1600s, because we were basically fighting against the development of Protestant religion, which was coming from Germany, so from north, and in a certain way we felt, Federico Borromeo was the cardinal at the time in Milan. He felt like he had to stop the development of Protestant religion by creating a sort of a boundary of culture in a way. So if he realized that priests had to be taught well enough to be able to debate and save their views. So this was a school, a very specific school for them. Now Ferragamo had turned into an hotel. I know they have the permission to stay in here for 99 years because it still belongs to the church.
Oh, wow.
So it's a sort of long-term temporary ownership.
lease or
Yes.
something.
And they made it into this super beautiful thing, as you can see. I'm sorry because it's better. I mean, I much prefer when the courtyard is just open because it's massive, really. It's impressive. And it's also interesting because the contrast, the architecture itself is very quiet on the contrary. So the scale is amazing, while the architecture is. Yes, and the windows are new because it was actually an open corridor back in the 1600s.
Right, yeah.
And now it's turned, I guess, into the corridor to access the rooms. I'm not really sure, but I think so. Scusi. Wow. So, yes. Audemars Piguet watches. Audemars
for
Piguet.
watches.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You can tell the streets are different, the way like the streets are laid out from other places that we've seen, and it's much more modern versus.
Yeah, but I'm afraid we have a lot of pebbles as well. The city center is actually kind of covered in pebbles,
Right.
stone slabs or so. So it's yeah, but less than other places for sure.
Women can't walk on them with heels.
Not everywhere.
Right?
No, because no. In some places it's really pebbles like these, and
Wow.
the heels kind of turn into bananas.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So
Like this right here.
exactly, we have plenty of it.
Yeah. Have fun walking on heels.
Guarda, vabbè.
So now we are back from the main entrance. As you can tell, it's pretty majestic. Humilitas, which is written on top, used to be, let's say, the motto of the Borromeo family. Federico Borromeo was part of the family. Carlo Borromeo, his predecessor, and also uncle, is the one who started, who introduced this idea. And this is called Corso Venezia. And Corso Venezia is normally known. Oh, I have an idea.
Okay.
I take you there.
Okay.
I'll show you something more modern. You have to walk a little, but not much. But it's a super nice. Okay.
At lunch, we're ready to go.
Okay. Okay. We're back to Via della Spiga. This is again the access to Via della Spiga. We came from the other side and turned round. That's close. So just guess why this super imposing building has a front that still shows the bricks on that side. It's the same building, but it's kind of not finished over yet, or not covered with intonaco. The reason is that these used to be the waterway we've been talking about. This used to be water. This used to be water. So they did not insist on finishing the side of the building.
Named it after you. Emanuele.
Emanuele, yes,
See?
actually yes. Vittorio Emanuele II, who slept in that house, and that's the reason why his name is on it.
We're with the most famous one.
Yeah, a little more, just a little more. It was the king. I'm unluckily not related to the family or so. But and I take it this way, by the way. We have to turn around the corner and enter a completely different environment, but that is again neoclassic. For once, it's not a Pier Marini design, but a Simone Cantoni one, which was really the antagonist of Giuseppe Pier Marini. It's a little bit, you probably heard the story about artist Bernini and artist Borromini in Rome.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing on a smaller scale in Milan, yes. But you can tell, even you see the chandelier from the window, it's a fantastic place as well. It's used as a place for corporate events or so, because they do not have the furniture any longer, but the ceilings are painted, the chandeliers are still there, and so it's actually super amazing. Vivian Westwood, yes. As a matter of fact, this building kind of set the bar for the development of this entire street, because this is sometimes called the 1700 street, because most of it developed in the 1700s, and it was the wealthy Milanese who built their homes in here. So it's pretty, everything is pretty, you know, relevant in terms of scale or design. Very posh steak and burgers, I think. Not the average one. Oh,
The first one. You see them all the time in the States.
do, but even in Milan it's pretty
Pretty common.
pretty common, yeah. The one thing we do not have, and you have, are the electric cars. You very
Yes.
hardly see a Tesla, for
Really?
instance. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we have
It's not at all common in here.
in the States.
In a way, I think it's comprehensible, because the one thing, I mean, you can go around by car in Milan. It's not really that packed, so you cannot park it. That's the problem. So if you think that most of the cars in here do not have parkings,
Right.
and then you have to find a place on the street,
Right.
it's impossible to charge it. I mean, it makes it so difficult to find, you know, a charging station or so. I'm not really that optimistic about the development.
They're trying to push that huge, though, that they want everybody, especially in the United States.
No, but they're trying to do the same in here.
Really?
But in a city like Milan, it's very. I think it's honestly going to be pretty difficult. Yeah. Because most of you have, I don't know, a parking lot, some place you are sure you find your place. Well, this is probably from the 12th century. It's not as old as the others, but the starting. But it's kind of impressive, I understand. I agree. And very expensive to start with. Very, very expensive, for sure.
It looks very. We have a Tesla at home that Shane drives.
Okay.
We have a charging station at our house.
Exactly.
And it's
That's
all-
the thing. That's almost impossible to have in
Right.
Milan, and it makes such a difference. Let's cross it, isn't it? So. Didn't seem to want to stop.
No, he did not.
Neither this one. We go there.
The buildings are much taller and much higher here too. And in other places, they're not as tall.
Yeah, possibly so. Yeah. And these are not the tallest.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, this is a weird, brand new architecture, which I'm not sure I really like it, but it's interesting.
Oh wow.
It's an embassy, and apartments. I guess the embassy is in one of the apartments. But this is not the one thing I want to show you. The one thing I want to show you first is where you see the trees.
We've been checking these out since we got here.
Oh yes, they're becoming very popular, I think.
We stopped. He stopped a lady driving one in.
And asked.
Florence.
Good idea.
The
What
other
did she
day.
say?
She said that the name. She told us the name is Citron,
Yes,
and then
it's electric,
fully
right?
electric, yeah.
Mhm.
And she said that it's like 9,000 euros, something like that.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
It's interesting. 'Cause we don't have things that small in the States.
But in here they're fantastic
need it,
because
yeah.
Try to watch inside here.
Oh, there's flamingos in there.
Oh, here we go.
What is it?
Flamingos.
Check it.
Oh, flamingos?
Flamingos. This is a private home, which is not foundation. It used to be well, it still belongs to the Invernizzi family, and it's the Invernizzi Foundation. And they have flamingos in the courtyard, literally since I can remember, because they had been here since I was a child.
Wow.
Not the same one, probably, but
Yeah. They're mating.
the trick is that there's more than just flamingos. There's a kind of all sorts of water birds, or so. It's not just the flamingos, but you see the flamingos most of the time. I feel the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's like a tiny zoo. But
Right?
That one.
Lui dice, non si raggiunge. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So this is an architecture from 1914, well, designed in the 11, but approved in 1914 because they were not really convinced. And it's a touch of Art Nouveau in Milan. Art Nouveau, we have quite a lot of Art Nouveau in Milan. It started later than in other places, because normally when you talk about Art Nouveau, the numbers are 1893, 1903. In Milan, we started in 1903 to properly design Art Nouveau. So these and also Art Nouveau was done right on time, because with the First World War, it was such a slaughter and such a mind-changing event that soon after the war was over, Art Nouveau was over too, in a way. So this, we should consider it one of the last episodes of Art Nouveau. And in the mind of the architect, whose name was Berri Meregalli, I'm sorry, whose name was Giulio Ulisse Arata. Berri Meregalli is the owner of the house, and the name the house is known with. Giulio Ulisse Arata was kind of convinced that he was not designing any Art Nouveau, but on the contrary, he was moving past it and showing something new. In a way, if you see, there's a lot of, it's a sort of constant making reference to many different periods in time in the architecture of the past. Because if you look, I don't know, this lower level looks like some medieval fortress or something even scary, if you wish. Then you see the bricks typical of the medieval Milan. You see a sort of Gothic feeling because of all these animals that look like gargoyles, or or so. Then you see a touch of the mosaics, which are recalling the Byzantine art and Ravenna's mosaics, and so. But if I may say, very much look like Klimt designs instead. So then you see the puttos, all these hanging from the draining pipes, which refers to, I don't know, Michelangelo and the 1500s. So it's plenty of different references matched together without a proper purpose. But they make this place into a fantastic, unusual architecture. Let me show you if it is open over there. because the entrance is fantastic. These are apartments. This is a condo. This is a condominium. When it was first made, it was probably particularly fascinating because la signora deve entrare. Prego, prego. It was probably particularly fascinating because this Berri Meregalli, the owner, had in mind, like many of the people who built these sort of houses, which were meant to, help them make money because it's apartments or so. He started with this idea in mind, but then he basically gave the apartment for very, very cheap prices to artists. So this became for a while a sort of artistic cenacole and a very creative space. And you see, the feeling is that of really that of a medieval castle, a medieval fortress.
See the bee down there as well?
It's not a bee.
Oh, the statue of the bear?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a super beautiful one, if I may say. It's a winged, how do you say? Winged, thank you. A winged head by an artist whose name was Adolfo Wild. And Adolfo Wild is one of the most talented, elegant artists of the 20s and 30s. And so it's something in between Art Nouveau and Art Deco, a touch of expressionism, if you wish. He always shows these empty eyes, the open mouth. So there's this element which is a little bit even I don't know. It's just creepy. May I use this word? But
This looks like a building that you'd see in Times Square.
Which one?
Right here, in front of us.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's it's a building that you can find often in Milan as well. It goes back to the 30s. That's the 30s style.
Yeah.
Maybe not as soft. It could be a little bit, more Russian,
Right.
rational. But yeah, it's Milan in the 30s. This thing. Now I'm uncertain where to go because a couple of things. Let's go this way. Also, that is a silent square, which is beautiful. Everything in here, if I may say, is super beautiful. This is an entire area of the city that actually developed in the 30s. Before the 30s, it was a couple of beautiful palazzi having very large green spaces. With 1929, a use plan was made to basically enlarge the streets and find more room to a city that was growing fast. And so most of the owners of these palazzi with the large green spaces made deal with the municipality in order to leave some of their terrain, and in change they had permission to build on it, but the municipality had a way to create new streets. That was more or less the deal. So it literally developed starting with the 30s. And so it's a modern part of the city, and yet a super elegant, definitely wealthy one. And it's also, the magic of it is that it is so quiet, but it's absolutely in the heart of the city center.
It is very quiet. You don't even think you're
No,
sitting
exactly.
here.
Which is, I think it happens everywhere, not just in Milan, but it's kind of surprising every time because Milan is fast, is noisy, it's crowded of people, and then you just turn, right or left, and here we go. So, a completely different feeling, really.
Street lights are very interesting.
The street light, because they are
Very
hanging.
helpful. Yeah.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes. It's true. It happens with these, and it happens with the tram electricity.
Yeah, cool. Smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
Well, we have lampposts. Yeah.
We do have lampposts as well.
Do you?
Yes, some place we do have lampposts as well. But it's true that you often find these things just hanging from nowhere.
Right.
Thank you. No, that's not. He's not even allowed to move on the sidewalks. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
with a bicycle, you should use the street.